The Real Wolverine, a size comparison between movie and comic versions. Hey there, Marvel Maniacs! Ever wondered why Wolverine seems a bit stretched out in the movies compared to the comics? Today we're slicing into one of the most intriguing topics in the Marvel Universe, the surprising size difference between the comic book Wolverine and Hugh Jackman's on-screen portrayal. Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into how a few extra inches, or a whole foot, can totally transform a character. Let's go. The origins of Wolverine in comics. First things first, let's hop into our time machine and set the dial to 1974. Back then, the comics world was introduced to a brand new character in the Incredible Hulk number 180, none other than Wolverine himself. Created by writer Len Wein and artist John Romita Sr., Wolverine was initially a mysterious Canadian operative with a serious attitude and some wicked retractable claws. His full debut came in issue number 181, where he faced off against the Hulk. Talk about starting with a bang. Fans were instantly captivated by this scrappy, no-nonsense mutant who could go toe-to-toe with the Green Goliath. But the real game-changer arrived in 1975, when Wolverine joined the X-Men in Giant-Size X-Men number 1. Suddenly, he was a key player in a team of superheroes, each with their own unique powers and personalities. Over the years, Wolverine's backstory unfolded like an onion, with many layers and a few tiers. We learned about his healing factor, his adamantium-coated skeleton, and his struggles with memory and identity. From battling villains to mentoring younger mutants, Wolverine became a cornerstone of the Marvel Universe. His raw edge and complex character made him stand out in a world filled with capes and spandex. Comic book Wolverine's physical characteristics. All right, let's talk about the nuts and bolts, or should we say the adamantium and muscles, of Wolverine's physical appearance in the comics. Height and build. Believe it or not, Wolverine is actually quite short, standing at just 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters tall. That's right, our ferocious mutant is shorter than almost all his superhero pals. But don't let his height fool you. He's built like a tank, stocky, muscular, and brimming with raw power. This compact frame contributes to his animalistic fighting style, making him a formidable opponent despite his size. It's like they say, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Appearance and costume. Wolverine's classic costume is the stuff of legend. Picture this. A bright yellow and blue getup with black tiger stripes, topped off with those unmistakable pointy-eared masks. It's bold, it's flashy, and it's totally Wolverine. His wild, exaggerated hairdo and those signature mutton chops are as much a part of his look as his claws. Speaking of claws, they're not just any ordinary weapons. These retractable, razor-sharp blades made of indestructible adamantium extend from between his knuckles. They're a physical manifestation of his tough, no-holds-barred personality influence. Wolverine's shorter stature isn't just a trivial fact, it's central to his character. Being the underdog, literally, fuels his fierce independence and rugged demeanor. He's often portrayed as having a bit of a Napoleon complex, constantly proving that he's just as tough, if not tougher, than his taller counterparts. His height adds a layer of intensity to his relationships, whether he's clashing with Cyclops over team decisions or sharing a tender moment with Jubilee. It's all part of what makes Wolverine, well, Wolverine. Wolverine's portrayal in the movies. Fast forward to the year 2000, and the X-Men are making their big screen debut. Stepping into Wolverine's shoes and claws is none other than Australian actor Hugh Jackman. At the time, Jackman wasn't a household name, but boy, was that about to change. Over the next 17 years, Jackman portrayed Wolverine across 9 films, becoming the longest-running actor to play a superhero on screen. From X-Men to Logan, he took us on a roller coaster ride through Wolverine's journey, capturing his rage, his pain, and his search for redemption. But let's address the elephant in the room. Jackman doesn't exactly match the comic book image of Wolverine. He's taller, leaner, and let's be honest, a bit more traditionally handsome. His hairstyle is toned down, no wild horn-like tufts here, and the flamboyant yellow and blue suit is swapped for leather jackets and tank tops. Despite these differences, Jackman's Wolverine resonates with audiences. He brings a brooding intensity and a rugged charm to the character, embodying the lone wolf persona, while also showing glimpses of vulnerability. His performance adds depth to Wolverine, making him a relatable and compelling figure on the big screen. Height comparison between comics and movies. Now let's get down to the height of the matter. Hugh Jackman stands tall at 6 feet 2 inches, 188 centimeters, making him nearly a foot taller than his comic book counterpart. That's a significant difference that has a noticeable impact on the character's portrayal. In the comics, Wolverine's shorter stature sets up a unique dynamic with other characters. He's often underestimated, which adds to his scrappy, relentless nature. His confrontations with taller opponents highlight his determination to never back down, no matter the odds. In the movies, this aspect is flipped. Jackman's Wolverine often towers over his co-stars. For example, in scenes with Cyclops, played by James Marsden, who is 5'10", the height difference changes their interactions. Instead of being the underestimated underdog, Wolverine comes across as more dominant and imposing. This shift alters the visual storytelling. The filmmakers embraced Jackman's height, allowing Wolverine to have a commanding screen presence. There's less focus on him being physically smaller and more on his internal struggles and relationships. But did the films address this discrepancy? Not directly. There are no camera tricks to make Wolverine appear shorter. Instead, the movies redefine the character within this new context. And while some purists might miss the classic dynamic, many fans appreciate the fresh take. For instance, in X-Men: The Last Stand, Wolverine confronts the towering Juggernaut. Despite being closer in height, the scene emphasizes Wolverine's tenacity over physical size. The focus shifts from height to heart, which at the end of the day is what truly defines a hero. Reasons for the difference. So, why the big change? Let's dive into the reasons behind casting a taller actor for a famously short character. Casting choices. When director Bryan Singer was casting for Wolverine, the priority was finding someone who could capture the character's essence. Hugh Jackman, with his intense audition and ability to convey both ferocity and vulnerability, stood out, despite not being a physical match. Hollywood standards. Hollywood has a history of favoring taller actors for leading roles, especially action heroes. It's part of the traditional image, a tall, commanding figure who dominates the screen. This standard likely influenced the decision, aiming to appeal to a broad audience. Practical filmmaking considerations. On-screen chemistry is crucial. Jackman's height matched well with his co-stars, creating visually balanced scenes. Adjusting for height differences with camera angles or platforms can be cumbersome. By casting actors of similar heights, the filmmakers streamlined production and focused on storytelling. At the end of the day, it was a combination of Jackman's talent and practical considerations that led to this towering portrayal of Wolverine. And let's be honest, it's hard to imagine anyone else nailing that role quite like he did. Fan reactions and opinions. When news broke that a 6'2" actor was cast as Wolverine, fans had mixed reactions. The internet buzzed with debates. Some fans were downright furious. "Wolverine is short," they cried. Concerns flooded in about staying true to the source material. However, once X-Men hit theaters, perceptions began to shift. Jackman's performance won over many skeptics. He delivered a Wolverine that was gritty, intense, and emotionally complex. The depth he brought to the character overshadowed concerns about height. Over time, Jackman's Wolverine became iconic. He was embraced not just by moviegoers but by comic fans as well. Memorable moments like his berserker rage scenes or tender interactions with characters like Rogue added layers that resonated with audiences. Of course, discussions about physical accuracy persist. Some fans hope that future adaptations might feature a Wolverine closer to the comics in stature. It's a testament to the character's enduring appeal that fans care so deeply about these details. But for many, Jackman's portrayal struck the right chord. His dedication to the role, including intense training routines and even learning martial arts, showed his commitment. He wasn't just playing Wolverine, he became Wolverine. And that's something fans across the board can appreciate. The impact on the character's perception. The height difference doesn't just affect appearances, it influences how we perceive Wolverine as a character. In the films, his taller stature contributes to a more traditional hero's journey. He's often at the forefront, leading the charge, which aligns with his physical presence. In contrast, the comic book Wolverine's shorter height adds to his outsider status. He's the rugged individualist, often at odds with authority and carving his own path. This underdog element is a core part of his identity. By altering his height, the films shift this dynamic. Wolverine becomes less of an underdog and more of a central heroic figure. This change impacts storytelling, relationships, and how audiences connect with the character. Will this influence future portrayals? It's possible. As new actors step into the role, there's an opportunity to revisit Wolverine's roots. Perhaps we'll see a return to the shorter, stockier version, a character who embodies that scrappy, relentless spirit from the comics. Either way, the essence of Wolverine, his resilience, his struggle between humanity and animal instinct, his quest for redemption, remains at the heart of the character, regardless of height. And that's what truly matters. So what's the final verdict? Does size matter when it comes to Wolverine? The answer is both yes and no. While Hugh Jackman's towering portrayal differs from the comic books, his performance captured the soul of Wolverine, bringing the character to life in a way that resonated with millions. Physical accuracy is important, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. A great performance can transcend these differences, offering a new perspective while honoring the character's core essence. But we want to hear from you. Do you prefer the traditional, shorter Wolverine from the comics, or does Jackman's version steal your heart and the show? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of Wolverine's size and its impact on his portrayal. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the Marvel Universe. Until next time, keep those claws sharp and your comics sharper.